Okay, welcome back to my channel, May Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we are going to be doing my Worldcon book haul. For those of you who don't know, I went to Glasgow for Worldcon in the beginning of August. Now, it's taken me quite a while to get this haul out for you guys because I was busy editing the vlog up until now. It is the most cursed vlog I have ever worked on. Like, truly. But I think it'll be out by the time this video comes out, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. Worldcon was a beautiful experience despite what the editing process was like afterwards. I'm so glad I went. And if you want to hear more about that specific experience, you can check out the vlog. I'll have it linked down below. But today we're just going to focus on the damage that I did to my wallet and the pretty things that I added to my collection. Speaking of beautiful things though, I would like to take this time to thank the sponsor of this portion of the video, Wraithmarked Creative. Not only is Wraithmarked a publishing house that produces deluxe premiere editions of books, they also are in the Kickstarter space. And I am over the moon to share with you guys their most recent Kickstarter project, which is extremely exciting. Those of you who have been around my channel for a while now know that I am a self-published fantasy blog-off or a SPIFBO judge for 3 years running now. And it's a competition that I stand behind in getting indie out into the mainstream. And Wraithmarked has long been in the business of getting indie out into the world. So what they've decided to do is pair up with SPIFBO for this current Kickstarter campaign and release a collection of Kickstarter champions. The first 2 books being released as part of this campaign are Where Loyalties Lie by Rob J. Hayes, the 2017 champion, and The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang, which is the 2019 champion. Not only will these editions come with a full art case wrap as well as a dust jacket, they're also going to be Smith sewn. One of the most exciting aspects of this project is that all of the spines are designed to line up together, featuring one of the main characters from the book with cohesive artwork styles. And so these 2 books are the first 2 in the collection, as I mentioned, but there are already 2 other books lined up for 2025, and there's already been rumblings of 2026 being in process. So not only do you get these 2 deluxe editions of these books, these wonderful stories, you also get the pleasure of being able to add to it little by little over the years and have a complete matching set of these indie juggernauts. The project hit nearly 300K in the first week, and the next stretch goal is 400K. If 400K is reached, the block sprayed edges will then turn into an illustrated sprayed edge with character art. There are campaign exclusive discounts for all $50 and above tiers that are only available while the campaign is still open. So if you would like to back this wonderful project, I will have the link in the description down below for you to go take a look at the Kickstarter and back it. The campaign runs until September 28th at 7:00 a.m. So go run and get your copies and support self-published and indie stories. Thank you once again to Wraithmarked Creative for sponsoring this portion of the video. We all know that I love beautiful things, and Wraithmarked consistently puts out gorgeous work. Now let's get to the beautiful things that I bought while I was in Glasgow. Now, I was a bit careful with book purchasing at the beginning of my trip because I wanted to make sure that I saved room in my bookcase, not bookcase, wow, in my suitcase for the trip back. But on the last day, I knew how much room I had available, and I went a little cray-cray. I also specifically went out of my way to buy books that I wouldn't be searching for online to purchase. Because of my location in Japan, shipping is ridiculous. So when I'm book shopping, I almost always am going out of my way to search for a book, find a specific copy I already know exists and that I want, and then paying the shipping to get to me. Very rarely do I just pick up a book on a whim and have it sent to me. So this was one of the rare chances where I could just look around, browse, and on a whim say, I want to check that out, even though it's not something that was on my radar before. So I think some of these might be a pleasant surprise for those of you watching, since I specifically went out of my way to get things that are not part of an ongoing series that you know I'm going to purchase and collect. So there are probably some surprises here. The first book here is very much one of those whim purchases. I was walking around the convention on the last day and these were on sale, and these are like these very shiny, very magpie attractive collections of short stories. This one is Gods and Monsters, Myths and Tales. And y'all know I love mythology. I really do. Wow, that writing is small. I didn't realize how small that writing is. Woo! So I will be reading these in little snippets. At least that's my goal with this. It was like £5 on sale, and I was like, it's calling to me. Why not? The next book I have here is one that I bought in Goldsboro on Cecil Court, which is a small street that's just full of bookshops in London. So I went there with Crystal. And again, never heard of this book before. As you can see, it is a signed first edition. That Goldsboro location only stocks special or signed first editions, and it's called A Woman of Opinion. Let me take off this little slip that's on it, and this is what it looks like. It's gorgeous, and just something about it called to me. It's not your typical book, again, that I would look to purchase. It's a historical fantasy, but something about it really called to me. You know, it could have been the gold foiling, let's be real. But what I understood from the blurb is that this is about a woman who defies society's expectations of her by supporting her husband through her wit and her political machinations. Her husband is an ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, and she's determined to make sure that she has a place in history. So, I don't know, it just called to me. I went for it, and I'm looking forward to getting to it. I haven't heard anyone talk about this one. These next two I got in Edinburgh. I am on a mission to own almost all of the Chiltern classics, and so they had some in the bookshop we went to in Edinburgh, and I just couldn't resist. This one I just bought because it's pretty. I had never even heard of this before. It's Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. It's gorgeous, and I wanted it on my shelves. And, you know, like I said, I'm slowly working through getting all of these editions. I'm looking forward to reading this at some point. It's going to be a pleasant surprise for me what it's about. If anyone knows in the comments down below, let me know. This other one did have a little bit more thought put into it, though, and that is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. Look at the detail on this. It is just so gorgeous. I loved Pride and Prejudice. That was my first ever Jane Austen. I read it for the first time 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago at this point. Oh, good Lord, what is time? I adored it. And I love Victorian literature. I know she's not Victorian, but she's a close relative of that style of literature. And I adored her wit and her characters. So I want to read more Jane Austen. I need more Jane Austen in my life. And why not have a beautiful edition of it when I get to it? The next book I have here is an ARC from Yaroslav Barzakov. He was hanging out with some of the authors that I know, and so when we were talking at the convention, he handed me an ARC. I believe that his book was being put out at the same time as Crystal's, and that's like the connection that we had, and he was kind enough to give me an ARC copy of his book, Sleeping Worlds Have No Memory. This gives me very sci-fi fantasy vibes, you know, kind of like a genre blend. I don't know, that's the feeling I get from it. So if I'm in the mood for something like that, I have this to pick up. It's also got that floppy paperback goodness. Oh, this is going to be such a good reading experience. Look at that. Just a thing of beauty. This next one I also got in Edinburgh. It is a copy of Winnie the Pooh. My patrons chose Winnie the Pooh for me as their first choice for a Choose My TBR poll, and I adored it at the beginning of this year, to the point where I kind of won't shut up about it. I just fell in love with the world, and I also loved these stories from the Disney movie when I was young, so this just has a special place in my heart now. I also have a very cute Japanese edition of this, and I've decided it's my new mission in life to try to get a copy of Winnie the Pooh from all of the different locations that I go to. So they had this cute bright yellow edition in the Edinburgh store, and it was just calling to me. I had to pick it up. This is what the naked hardcover looks like, very simple. And the inside pages have this 100 Acre Wood map. You know how some people collect editions of like Alice in Wonderland and some of their favorite classics? I know someone who collects editions of The Great Gatsby. I feel like Winnie the Pooh is going to be that for me. Next, we have Mammoth at the Gates by Nevo. This may seem like a very random purchase considering it's the third book in the collection of novellas that are part of this series, but Nevo was at Worldcon, and I was hoping to be able to meet her and have her sign this. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet Vo, but I'm going to have all of these books in my collection at some point, so I'm not upset at all that I purchased this book. This also is my favorite so far in the series. I have yet to read the 5th book, but this one particularly, I adored it. If you haven't checked out these books, especially the audios, I highly recommend you do. They're just stunning, lyrical, gorgeous writing. They had a little free section where you could just pick up any books that struck your fancy, and so I had never read an actual edition of Clarkesworld, and they had this recent edition there, so I picked this up. I also just love the art. I don't know, it spoke to me. So I have this to pick up when I feel a little more sci-fi. Also in that free section, we had Your Blood and Bones by J. Patricia Anderson. This was a complete cover pickup. I just love this color scheme and this art, and it was in the freebie section, so I've scooped it. We'll see. It's short as well. I've been in my short fiction era, so maybe you'll hear me talk about this soon. Also, in a similar vein of looking to get a book personalized, I picked up a signed copy of What Moves the Dead. Nettle and Bone was one of my favorite books from the first half of the year. I love that book so much. And Kingfisher was at Worldcon, so I picked this up in hopes of getting to have it personalized. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance, but it is still very much signed, which is wonderful. And I'm really looking forward to getting to this. I fully believe I'm going to enjoy Kingfisher going forward, and I feel like this is the perfect spooky vibes for October, and this is actually in my fall MBR TBR, so maybe read soon. This next one is one that I picked up when I was walking around the convention center on one of, was it the last day? It might have been the last day when I was doing my main shopping, but I have wanted to read Nayla Hopkinson for so long, and this is called Falling in Love with Hominids, and it's a short story collection. And I figure, because I've been kind of in that era in my life, what a better way to really dive into Hopkinson finally. A lot of people that I love and trust their taste have really enjoyed Hopkinson, so I have good feelings. I have good feelings for this. It's calling to me. This next one is from my dear, dear friend, Adrian Gibson, and that is his book, Mushroom Blues. I was lucky enough to receive an ARC copy of this, but I'm a terrible friend and did not get to finish it in time before the release. But what I have read is stunning. And that impression is also backed up by the fact that this is now a SPIFFO finalist, the first one to be announced. So congrats to you, Adrian. It is so, so deserved. I know how hard you worked on this. And the cover, I'm just so happy to have a full, physical edition of this, because this artwork by Felix Ortiz is stunning. I want to get myself a hardcover version of this eventually, because the full wraparound is visible on the back on the hardcover, but it's just gorgeous art. The vibes are everything. It's mushroom people. But it's so well realized and written, like I said, from everything that I've read so far, and clearly what others think, as it's now a SPIFFO finalist. So this is also personalized with a little note from Adrian that made me tear up a little bit. So Adrian, I'm so blessed to know you, and being able to spend time with you during Worldcon, being part of the Airbnb family together, you tattooing me, it's just, I feel so lucky to have you in my life, and I will treasure this. Adrian also never does things half-assed. He's all about the details. For example, look, there's little mushrooms growing out of the barcode here, right? So he also wrote songs, or had a friend of his write songs for his universe, and he put it on a tape. I don't know why you chose tape, Adrian, because I want to listen to this, but I don't have a tape player. I will hunt one down so I can listen to this. But it has both sides, A and B side. And it's all the vibes for Mushroom Blues, and it's called Sporer. We've got 4 more books to go through, and then a couple little accoutrements. The next one is one that I haven't shut up about the fact that I met this person, so if you watch the vlog, you probably know who I'm talking about. But that is Marie Alice Harrell, who is the artist for this edition of Howl's Moving Castle from Folio Society. It has some of the most beautiful, whimsical, just touches my soul kind of art in it. And she was at the convention in some nondescript corner. And when I was walking past, I saw the art for Howl's Moving Castle. I saw a print of it, and I was like, is that you? She was like, yeah. lost my mind. So she had a couple books there that were collections of her art. I didn't go for the other two collections because they were quite pricey, but I kind of regret that now. I really wish that I had gotten the other collections that she had there. But this is the one that called to me the most. It's called Hortari, and I read the intro to this in my vlog as well, so I won't do it again. If you wanted to go hear the intro to this book, you can go check that out. But it just has, each page has an element of her elegant whimsy to it. And she personalized it for me with a little flower, which is so wonderful of her. And basically, it's a collection, as it says here, Forgotten Explorers and Seekers. And what she did is, while she was doing research, she came across a bunch of explorers and researchers that she felt were forgotten by the history books, and she wanted them to be remembered. So what she did is she put the names in with a little biography of what they did and what she found interesting, and then an art piece inspired by that person in their travels. And her art, like I said, is just, oh, it's so gorgeous. And it has that fairy tale feel where it's whimsy, but it's also got a dark aspect, you know, the color palette also. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to read this. So this is something very unique and something I'm very excited to have. Like I said, I really wish I'd gotten her other two collections, but I am so happy to have this one at least. The next three are broken binding pickups from the last day. I was eyeing up their table the entire time. That kind of became the home base for a lot of us. We'd be like, oh, I'll see you at the broken binding table. So we would just kind of like meet in that area. And I saw their stock slowly dwindle, but again, I wanted to make sure that I had room in my suitcase. So on the last day, I let myself buy the ones that I had been eyeing up. And so one of those was Sons of Darkness. I've been eyeing up getting an edition of this for so long. They have a different design now on the edges, still absolutely stunning. It's different from the first ones that came out, which were like more swirly, but the gold foiling here, oh, it's amazing. And this is actually one that I know I'll be getting to soon because it came up for the Only Good Book Club. So we're gonna read one half of it in September, the other half in October. I feel like it's gonna be good spooky reads. I also got a chance to get to know Gaurav quite well, and he's such a delightful little cinnamon bun of a person. I love him to death. And I've only read the first chapter of this so far, but I'm like, this person that I just met that is so kind and wonderful and loving, no way that this person also wrote this dark of a book. Anyway, I really enjoyed, though, the writing of what I've read so far. So you will be hearing about this in the future, but it is just gorgeous. And the last books I got are actually a duology, again from Broken Binding. Been eyeing this up for a long time. I knew I wanted to read this series, but I think this is going to be the kick in the butt that I need to read it. And that is Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. I have been told by so many people I trust and love that I need to read Butler. And I fully intend to. It was just the question of when. And now that I have these gorgeous editions, like let me show you the back as well. So this is the wraparound art. And then this is the digital edge. Let me get my face out of there. Oh, just gorgeous. And then the naked hardcover has a quote on it. And it was reading these quotes that sold me. I was like, I have to purchase these right now. So this one says, all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. Profound. And then here's the full wraparound for Parable of the Talents. And here is the digital edge. And the quote on the cover of this one says, we give our dead to the orchards and the groves. We give our dead to life. Again, profound. I cannot wait to read these. And just, I'm so happy I have these in my hands. All of these books make me happy, but these might be my crowning jewel. And finally, just a couple little accoutrements from when I was there. The first one here is a pin. This is also from Adrian. Not only is Adrian an author, a podcaster, he does everything in the book space, a reader. He's also a tattoo artist and just an artist in general. And so he had these little pins of his art. And it was just so cute. I had to get this little ramen pin. And then the other pin that I got, I stayed in London for 2 nights, not consecutively, but overall 2 nights, and I stayed in Paddington. And it's just such like a, I don't know, iconic place. I wanted to get something to remember that, so I got a little Paddington pin. So I'm not connected to Worldcon, but still connected to my travels. I also have my lanyard here, and they had this really interesting, I don't know if this is at most cons, this is my first con, so maybe it is, but they had these little ribbons that you could collect throughout your time there. So this first one, someone made a Patrick Leo fan club. Little tag, and we had him sign it. Then we have my first Worldcon, which it was. Spiffbo, you know I stand Spiffbo, not a surprise considering who's sponsoring this video. I know Ara Verdi. This was a joke. Okay, so I'm gonna tag you, okay? I'm gonna tag you, Ronnie, in this because there was an individual, again, the individual should not be exposed, that was running around giving these out, and apparently the number that's given out increases every year, and Ronnie doesn't know who's doing it. And I love that, and I'm glad that I'm part of that story now. And also I have the Indie Proud banner here. There was a lot that you could add. Like, people had full, like, a whole waterfall of banners attached. But on the first day I kind of picked up a bunch, and then I kind of fell off of doing that. Oh, I also have pins here. This is Ben Galley's pin for his Griffins and his story. And also Rob J. Hayes, his God Eater pin. He was like, do you want one? I'm like, is that even a question? Okay, there we go, finally. So the God Eater Kickstarter books finally got shipped, but they're going to my American house. Tale as old as time at this point. I can't wait to get to them eventually. You all know I love Hayes' work, so. And one final thing that I want to talk about is this print. This is another Marie Alice Harrell print. Oh, I also got little mini prints from her. I forgot to bring these. Well, those are also in the vlog, so you'll see those. But this is particularly special because I realized, like a dum-dum, I'm going to this huge convention where all these people are coming together, and I didn't bring not one scrap of paper for anyone to sign. Like, didn't bring a book because I was planning on buying a bunch of books. And so I started meeting people, and I'm like, I have nowhere for you to commemorate this. So I bought a print that had a lot of extra space on it. First of all, the print is absolutely adorable. And I thought it was a perfect embodiment of the whimsy of the world of fantasy. So it's in this plastic cover. So let me take it out of the plastic cover just for this moment here. But I am going to be guarding this with my life because once I have moved into my forever home, I plan to frame this and put it as pride of place on the wall. But I have a huge collection of signatures from people all over the book community. Like Adrian Tchaikovsky drew a little spider here. I've got Jackson Dickert from Between Two Perns. I've got Marina Lostetter, Christian Cameron, Matt from The Broken Binding, Andrew Watson, a bunch of other booktubers here. Stephen Aryan, Jeff Brown, PL, Tim from Hello Future Me. There's just people from all over the community, including those who work like in the background of The Broken Binding and are the ones who really, really work to get books into our hands, and they need to be given more of a spotlight. So what really struck me is I was having everyone at the bars. I would just whip this out and be like, can you sign this? And sometimes there were people, like I said, that would work, like artists that would work more in the background, or people that do more logistics, working in the background of different companies, and they would say, oh, I'm not an author, like, why do you want me to sign this? I'm like, you're the reason that the author's work gets out there. So I found in myself, through the process of getting this whole collection of names here, I found within myself this desire to put those people into the world. So it's just this new inspiration that I have. And this may come through page chewing, this may come through in other ways on my channel, but it's something that I don't want to forget the feeling of. But everyone who signed this was there because they adore books, they adore stories, and they want to share that passion with the world. And they all deserve to be heard. So this is probably the most precious thing that I have from this entire trip. And I think I've started a little tradition for myself. Every convention I go to, I'm going to buy a print from an artist at that convention and have everyone that I meet sign it. I think it's going to be such a nice collection of memorabilia to have later in life when, you know, maybe I can't go to as many conventions. We'll see. But yeah, this right here, precious, my precious. So that's all for my Worldcon haul. Again, thank you so much to Wraithmarked Creative for sponsoring that first section of this video. Run, don't walk to support that campaign. It's something that I truly feel in my heart is doing good for the community. And if you love pretty things as well, let me know in the comments down below some new pretty things you've gotten recently, or your thoughts on the pretty things that I have acquired here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell. I'd love to have you as part of this community, and I appreciate it. But for now, I'm gonna head out. Johnny!